Welcome back. All right, so today's team history video, the Arizona Coyotes. This also includes the Winnipeg Jets history when we look at all-time points producers, wins leaders, etc. The Arizona Coyotes, of course, moved from Winnipeg, which is, I think it's a big part of the reason why there's still a lot of negativity towards Arizona. We can talk about the attendance, we could talk about their arena, all that other fun stuff. But I think a lot of it is this was the Winnipeg Jets. They got moved to Arizona. I think some of it settled down a bit when the Atlanta Thrashers moved to Winnipeg, but still. I do think some of the negativity is because the Winnipeg Jets moved to Arizona, and then they did not turn a profit immediately upon moving to Arizona, so there was a lot of discussions with that. But this is a team that is trying to find its footing. This is a team that's going through what is a pretty extensive rebuild right now. The rebuild being interesting because they haven't been a consistent playoff team for a long time. So, in trying to save some money now, that they intend to spend later and trying to find a way to turn a profit. Getting out of Gila River was really important. Now they end up getting booted out of Gila River, but either way, getting out of that building I think was important to the franchise and might just give them that kick in the backside they needed. And once they get that new arena, you have to think Tempe's going to prove that because we're still in the process. So once they get that new building in Tempe, they should be in pretty good shape. And of course, they're headed to ASU for the next few years, and we'll see how long they end up playing out of the ASU building. Now, Shane Doane is the all-time leader in points for this franchise. In 1,540 games played, 402 goals, 570 assists, 972 points. He, of course, was drafted as a Winnipeg Jet. Ends up being an all-time favorite of the Coyotes. Dale Hawerchuk played 713 games, 379 goals, 550 assists, 929 points. So this franchise doesn't have anybody that's produced 1,000 points, but they do have two that have produced 900. Thomas Steen, 950 games played, 264 goals, 553 assists, 817 points. Keith Tkachuk in 640 games played for Winnipeg and then for Phoenix. 323 goals, 300 assists, 623 points. Because remember, they were the Phoenix Coyotes before they became the Arizona Coyotes. Teppo Numminen, 1,098 games played, 108 goals, 426 assists, 534 points. Very reliable defenseman, Numminen. Paul McLean, 527 games played, 248 goals, 270 assists for a grand total of 518 points. Doug Smale, one of my favorites at the time, 691 points with the Jets, or 691 games with the Jets. I wish it had been 691 points. 189 goals, 208 assists, 397 points. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, now in Vancouver, played 769 games for the Coyotes, 128 goals, 260 assists for 388 points. And then there's a tie between Roenick and Boschman at 379 points for 10th overall. 526 games played by Boschman as opposed to 454 by Roenick, 152 goals for both, 227 assists for both, 379 points. So both Laurie Boschman and Jeremy Roenick. Their all-time wins leader is Ilya Bryzgalov with 130. Bob Essenza, 129. Mike Smith with 128. Nikolai Habibullan, 126. So the top four are separated by 4 wins, and then Sean Burke with 97. There is no goaltender currently playing for the Coyotes that's threatening to get anywhere near this list. We'll see if that changes over the next couple of years. The retired numbers list is different between the Winnipeg Jets and the Arizona Coyotes. The Jets had number 9 for Bobby Hull, number 10 for Dale Hawerchuk, and number 25 for Thomas Steen. They are listed as honored numbers for the Coyotes, but not retired numbers. On the retired number side of things for the Arizona Coyotes, Keith Tkachuk's number 7, Shane Doane's number 19, Teppo Numminen's number 27, and Jeremy Roenick's number 97 are all retired. Playoffs since 2000, not a lot. This is a team that has struggled to make the playoffs. In 2000, they lose in the first round against San Jose in 5. In 2010, so it's 10 years separated, they lose in the first round against Detroit in 7. I remember really rooting for Arizona that year. I really wanted them to pull off the upset. 2011, they lose in the first round again against Detroit, this time in a sweep. 2012, I should say, they went all the way to the quarterfinal, or conference finals, where they lose in 5 against the LA Kings. So they make that nice long run, couple of upsets along the way, and then the LA Kings put a stop to that. In 2020, the most recent year where they make the playoffs, they make it because they expanded the playoffs. Arizona pulled off the upset over Nashville in the qualifying round. And then in the first round, they lost in 5 games against Colorado. The only reason they won 1 game against Colorado, an out-of-this-world performance by Darcy Kemper. So the Cup years, there aren't any. And for Arizona, as much as it's important for them to build things up in the new building, as they look for another new building, right? Really, the importance is trying to build up a team that's contending as well. One thing I've said about Florida, and I've said about Arizona, we can talk about attendance till our faces turn blue. The reality is that these teams, in both cases, had never really been contenders. That's now changed for Florida. We'll see if that improves their numbers at the gates. We have not seen that with the Arizona Coyotes. Outside of the 2012 conference final, there has been no success for the Coyotes in the regular season or postseason, because they don't make the postseason without the regular season success. Their coaching history started with Tom McVie. The Winnipeg Jets were really stripped down coming into the NHL. They lost a lot of key guys. He ends up 19-47-11 before he's replaced. Their current coach is Andre Tourigny, who I think understands not going to be a lot of wins here, but he was 25-50-7. I think the fact that the Coyotes end up winning 25 games last year is impressive. Their first goal in the Winnipeg Jets history, Morris Lukowich scores at 13:34 of the third period. They would tie the game, but they would ultimately lose against Pittsburgh 4-2. The most recent goal for Arizona, scored by Shane Gostisbehere at 10:27 of the third in a 5-4 win against the Nashville Predators. Their all-time penalty minutes leader is Keith Tkachuk with 1,508 to go along with his 623 points. Keith Tkachuk was a tough player. Their season records, a lot of this is Jet stuff. 92-93 was a big year for Teemu Selanne with 76 goals. Sadly, he would be traded not long after to the Anaheim Ducks, and that was writing on the wall for the Winnipeg Jets franchise that would soon move to Arizona. Phil Housley that year had 79 assists, so 92-93, big year for Winnipeg. 132 points for Selanne in 92-93. That's how you make an impression as a young player. All-time penalty minutes in a season, Ty Domi with 347 and 93-94, so that's Winnipeg as well. Wins, this is where an Arizona player shows up, Ilya Bryzgalov with 42 wins in 2009-2010. I don't think the 76 goal record's in any danger, the 132 points. I think those records will stay for a long time to come. Their best draft picks, number 103 in 1979 was Thomas Steen, who went on to play a very long time here. Brian Mullen, 1980 was a number 127 pick. Brian Mullen overshadowed a little bit by Joe Mullen, but a very good player in his own right. 2005, drafted 105th by the Coyotes, was Keith Yandel. Drafted 123rd in 2015 was Connor Garland, who of course is now with Vancouver. But that trade turned out to be pretty good, I think, for the Coyotes, and we'll see 4 or 5 years down the road how much that helped them into the future. 204th pick in 1992 was Nikolai Habibullan, one of the more underrated goaltenders from that era. Number 69 in 1983 was Bob Essenza, who would end up in Vancouver as backup Bob, but I remember his prime years in Winnipeg, he was very good. First round picks that have played less than 100 games, there are a number of these. Number 18 in 1985, Ryan Stewart, he played 3 games in the NHL. 1996, drafted 11th overall, Dan Vogt, ends up playing 82 games in the NHL. 1998, drafted 14th overall, Patrick DeRoche, who ends up playing 11 games in the NHL, goaltender there. 1999, 19th pick is Kirill Safronov. He ends up playing 35 games in the NHL. So not a Kirill the Thrill situation there. Number 19 in 2002 ends up playing 0 games in the NHL. I believe it's Jacob Koresh, but he never played in the NHL. Number 19 number 15 in 1999, almost skipped over this, Scott Kelman plays 0 games in the NHL. Number 29 in 2006, Chris Summers ends up playing 70 games in the National Hockey League. Number 30 in 2007 was Nick Ross, did not reach the NHL. Number 27 in 2010, Nick Vicentin, who ended up playing 1 game in the NHL. He was a highly thought of goaltending prospect, it never worked out. Number 13 in 2010 was Brandon Gormley. He played 58 games in the National Hockey League. So the Coyotes with 2 picks in the first round in 2010, both of them ultimately end up being misses. 2012, drafted 27th overall, Henrik Samuelsson, who played 3 games in the National Hockey League. There are other first-round picks that have played less than 100 games. However, they are all still active players, and there is that chance they reach 100 games soon. There's the likelihood in many cases that they'll reach 100 games soon. So that being said, the Coyotes are a team that it feels like have been in a bit of a holding pattern. Outside of that 2020 sudden appearance in the playoffs against Colorado, thanks to the upset over Nashville, there hasn't been a lot to cheer for if you're a Coyotes fan for about a decade now. And so this coming season is likely going to be much more of the same. But how much more of the same? And when are we going to expect to see the Coyotes getting better? That's the question. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.